Welcome to the MPAI Talks to Industry presentation, wherever you are in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. So let's have a look at technology. This talk will be mostly about technology. So we see that there's been an evolution through ages because we had the mechanical age, the electrical age, the electronic age, the data processing age, but finally we are in the artificial intelligence or AI age. This talk will be mostly about the data coding standards. These are important because they enable interoperability. MPAI used to be the standards organization for data processing based digital media, with a business model of making good standards by rewarding patents worth inclusion. Unfortunately, that business model is now worn out. So this is the first of a set of presentation about the standards organization that has been designed to cope with the needs for data coding standards in the AI age. We are talking of the moving picture, audio, and data coding by artificial intelligence, or MPAI, an international, unaffiliated, not-for-profit organization developing AI-centered data coding standards. It is important to make clear what we mean by data coding. By data coding, we mean the transformation of data from a format to another that is more convenient to an application. Example is obviously compression, but feature extraction is also another example. MPAI works on the basis of 4 pillars. The first is the development of standards using a rigorous process. So what is the process? Imagine that you have a proposal. We collect interest around this proposal, we develop use cases, and we develop functional requirements. All this happens in 3 stages where everybody, not just MPAI members, can participate. Then the MPAI principal members develop commercial requirements, what we call framework license. And then we issue a call for technologies. Everybody can participate in the call. Then we develop a standard, and when the standard is mature, we submit the standard for community comment, and finally, we approve the MPAI standard. The second pillar is to set IPR guidelines before developing a standard. And the goal is to make a standard that are accessible and timely available. How does it work? Before initiating a standard, the active principal members developed and adopted the framework license. This is a license, but without values. It does contain dollars, percentage, dates, and the license declare that the eventual license will be issued not after products are on the market and at a price comparable with similar standard technology. During the development, any member making a submission declare that it will make its license available according to the framework license. And after the development, the members holding IP in the standard selected the preferred patent pool administrator. The third is what we mean by standard. What is an AI standard? Well, difficult to say, but if you adopt the MPAI model, then something can be done. So imagine that you have a module that has the function of taking a picture of a person and extracting the text from the person, what is being pronounced, and the emotion that is in the text, but also on face. So then if you have a complete application, you may need to have more modules that we call AI modules, and we combine them to make an AI workflow. And this is executed in a framework that we call AI framework or AIF. Finally, the governance. By producing standards, MPAI gives rise to an ecosystem. The components of the ecosystems are MPAI itself, producing standards, implementers developing components and applications, the MPAI store, we'll talk more about this, verifying the security and the conformance of implementation and labeling them for interoperability and reliability. Then we have performance assessors, which have the task to grade an implementation for reliability, and finally end users who download and use implementation. MPAI is the root of trust of the MPAI ecosystem, issuing the governance rules. So what have we done in the past 15 months? We have developed 5 standards. We are quite proud of what we have done, and I will give just a few words. So AI framework, this is what we have talked about. It is a component-based standard. It enables execution of AI workflows. It is composed of AI modules, and AI workflows and AI modules are defined just in terms of their function and interfaces, not about the technologies that are used to implement them. The second is the company performance prediction. Imagine that you have a company and you want to know what's the probability that this company will fail, or what is the probability that this company will have a business discontinuity, or what is the adequacy index of the governance of this company? Well, this MPAI standards provide answers to that using AI technology. The third one is the context-based audio enhancement standard. So this enables the improvement of the user experience for audio applications in the domain of entertainment, communication, teleconferencing, gaming, post-production, restoration. And this is done for different contexts, such as in the home, in the car, on the go, in the studio. And the enabling factor that differentiates this standard from other standards is that we use context information. The fourth standard is multimodal conversation. This is a standard that enables a human to talk to a machine and having a conversation with the machine in a way that emulates human-to-human conversation in terms of completeness and intensity. So there are several use cases, 5 actually. The first is conversation with emotion. So this supports a conversation with the machine where the human expresses an emotion, the emotion is understood by the machine, and the machine responds with a text and a synthetic face that are congruent with what the human has said. The second is multimodal question answering. So this is a human asking a machine, so can you tell me more about this object? So this is what the standard does. And then we have 3 standards for automatic speech translation, for unidirectional, bidirectional, and one-to-many cases. The interesting point here is that translation is not just synthesized, but it's synthesized retaining the features, the vocal features of the speaker. And MPAI is now developing 9 standards. So we are in the process of doing that. And I will give a few words about the first 2, which is the AI-enhanced video coding. So imagine that you have an existing traditional data processing-based standard, and you want to improve that standard using some AI-based tools. Well, this is what we are doing. We are using as a basis MPAI-EVC, and we are improving the performance of this standard by replacing the tools. The second is AI-based end-to-end video coding. And this is a video compression standard. Well, we are not at the standard yet because we are in the process of developing it. It does not assume that there is an existing video codec. So we start from a blank sheet of paper and we try to exploit AI technologies to the best. We then have online gaming. So the purpose of this standard is to minimize the discontinuities when you are playing online that are caused by packet losses, high latencies, and so on. So information from a client is missing because, you know, there's been high latency and therefore data not arrive or data don't arrive at all. Client data are fed to a system that uses several neural networks to predict the missing data. So this is to compensate for missing data, but the same system can be used in case someone is cheating, and therefore the neural network helps the online game server to understand if that is the case. We then have connected autonomous vehicles. So what is a connected autonomous vehicle? It is a system that is capable to move autonomously. It makes an analysis of the data produced by a wide range of sensors that capture the environment, but also the information that is transmitted by other sources in range, such as other cars. The standards aim at standardizing the IT components of a car, which is a very complex system. We have right now 4 subsystems, each of them with a large number of AI modules. Mixed reality collaborative space is a project developing technologies to be used for scenarios where we have humans which are represented by avatars, and this avatar collaborate in a virtual reality space to achieve a common goal. So the avatars are virtual twins of humans, and they are represented with the human features in a way that is as realistic as possible, in particular the face, the head, the arms, the hands, and the speech. Genomics is another project that we are developing. I will skip that. Visual scene and object, this is another project that we are developing. Let me give 2 words about the neural network watermarking project. This develops requirements. We are at the very initial stage here for a standard that enables the measure for a given size of the watermarking payload of the impact that the watermarking imposes on the network, and the degradation of the user experience caused by the watermark applied to a neural network. Another element to be measured is the resistance to attack. For instance, you have a network, but you reuse it by transfer learning, or you simplify the network. In that case, you don't want the watermark to be lost, and so we wanted to develop methods to measure the loss. And finally, the processing cost of injecting watermarking. Sometimes we are talking of neural network weighing gigabytes of data, tens, hundreds of gigabytes of data. It's important to know what is the processing cost for that. And finally, we have avatar representation and animation. This is another new project. For this time, I will skip it. So this is the program, the entire program of presentations. You will have the possibility to click on one of the entries and watch a similar presentation.